Hello, this is Miss Schrader. Today we're going to be talking about prehistoric cave art. Cave art is some of the earliest types of art that have been known, and there has been cave art in basically all the continents of the world, dating back thousands upon thousands of years. We're going to be focusing on two particular famous caves, Lascaux in France and Altamira. My students, you'll need a piece of paper and something to write with so you can take notes. You're going to be taking notes and then giving me 5 strong sentences about what you have learned, what you find interesting and educational. All right, let's get started. Okay, so here we have a map that is showing Lascaux, which is sort of in south central France, and Altamira, which is in northern Spain. As I mentioned, these are two very famous sites that have early cave art that we're going to be looking at. So in 1940, a couple of boys in France were out walking with their dog, and the dog went scurrying into this hole into some rocks. So the boys went trying to find him, and they discovered this cave full of these beautiful pieces of artwork. There are over 600 paintings in the Lascaux cave, and it is believed that they were painted around 19,000 years ago. And at some point, there was an earthquake and the cave was covered up, and that's why it's been preserved. What you're looking at right now is the Great Hall of Bulls, which has these huge number of painted animals that you can see right there. And they're all done with natural pigments. So they are stones that have been ground up and mixed with oil or maybe flowers. In some cases, seashells of certain kinds have been ground up to make the colors. And if you look at these right here, you can see how beautiful it is. They look like they are all running forward, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The animals are made incredibly detailed, and they really look incredibly realistic. This one, they think, is actually showing a pregnant mare, and that's why the stomach is curving downward. And I wanted to show you this one so you could get an idea of what the caves look like if you were a person actually standing in them. The caves were open up for tourists after World War II, but within a very short amount of time, because of so many people coming into the caves and breathing out their carbon monoxide, their feet stomping and everything, the paintings started to flake away. And so what they did was they closed the caves up again, and nowadays only scientists and archaeologists can go in. They have mock-ups, fake caves. So if you're a tourist and you want to go and see the caves, you would see a fake version of it nearby. And something that's really amazing is that while they do the animals incredibly accurately, incredibly realistically, they do the humans very poorly. As you can see from this example, there are questions about why they are even doing this cave art. It is assumed that it is a spiritual or a religious thing, that they are appealing to gods or ancestors, and perhaps showing humans realistically would offend them. And this is the most famous picture of a human in Lascaux Cave. The human is over to the left. He's that kind of stick figure with a bird stick next to his hand. You can see the bull there is much more realistic. To me, I find this a little frightening since it does look as though the bull is about to kill the person. We don't really know. This is one of my favorite pieces from Lascaux. It is showing a series of hands, and it is assumed that these are the hands of the various different artists who did the work in Lascaux. Some of these hands are shown as being quite small, and so it's suggested that some of these people, some of the artists, could have been women. It is assumed that the artists were also the priests and priestesses of the community, that as they were doing the artwork, they were saying prayers and calling upon their gods or their ancestors um, to help their community. And so these are the hands of the artists from 19,000 years ago. Okay, we're going to go on to Altamira, which is in Spain. In 1868, a amateur archaeologist was exploring a cave in northern Spain. He had taken his little daughter with him, And while he's looking at certain parts of it, the little girl was crawling up into the little parts, some of the hidden areas, and she starts calling out to her father, Toros, Toros, Toros. And when he comes, what he sees is that on the ceiling, they have painted all of these bulls all over the place, like the one you're looking at now. Research has shown that these bulls are around 36,000 years old. So they're a lot older than even the Lascaux paintings are. So this is what the ceiling of Altamira looks like. And the cave, the ceiling part, has these natural formations, these lumps. And so the bulls were painted on the lumps to make the bulls actually look 3D. As you look at the colors, once again, these are organic colors. Probably red ochre is one of the main colors that would have been mixed up. And because, once again, the cave was sealed, the colors remained vibrant and really beautiful. And here you can get an image of some people examining the cave art, the ceiling area. Um, as with Lascaux, this cave was opened up for tourists, but once again, in the 1960s, it was sealed because with all the people coming in, that was causing the paintings to weaken. Both of these caves, Lascaux and Altamira, have copy caves in the area that have been made in the modern era. And also, both are UNESCO sites. Those are United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization sites that have been chosen to be protected. This is a modern artist's rendition of what the cave art in Altamira looked like. Kind of gives you an idea of really tightening up the colors so that you can get an idea of it. Once again, we really don't know what the purpose was. It is assumed that because it's being painted in the obscure areas of the cave, places where not everybody could get to, that it is probably dealing with some sort of religious rite of some sort. Okay, so we've been discussing cave art in Altamira and Lascaux caves. My students, you are giving me 5 sentences about what you found interesting, important, and educational. Thank you.